All right, guys, it's hump day, because you hate to hear me say that. It is hump day. What day is it, Mike? And I do have an editorial for you. Now, before I get to that, the reason I haven't done an editorial on the Phoenix shooting where they shot the young guy in the parked car is because there are just too many questions on that for me to try to hold police accountable, especially any corrupt cops. Yes, I'm very skeptical of the Phoenix Police Department, that they are all good. I think there's some issues there definitely that need to be dealt with in Phoenix and Mesa, Arizona. But with that Phoenix shooting and everybody's protesting it now and saying the police, what I'm hearing, and it seems like there may be evidence for it, is that there's a guy in a car who apparently was, there's a lot of issues there with him and questionable facts of criminality, that he had a gun, he pointed the gun at the cops, and he was shot. And I mean, there's just too many open questions there that I think I probably would side with the police on that one. Aim a gun at cops, you get shot. I mean, it's like 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4. 4 + 4 is 8. Aim a gun at cops. Cops shoot not late. I don't know. But no, cops will shoot you. So that's why I have not done an editorial on that one, because there are just too many questions, and it looks like the police may have acted justly. Now, if the guy didn't have a gun, or if he was just reaching with empty hands, it'd be different. But there are too many sources stating that, yeah, he had a gun, but they say, but he was in a parked car, and they shouldn't have come up on him like that with a gun. And I don't know. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm going to get to the editorial here from Joliet. Now, this is one of the reasons good cops may not step forward. People say there are no good cops because cops don't ever say anything. And I agree that a cop should say something when he sees a coworker doing something wrong. He should step forward and say, yeah, I saw it. But this is one of the reasons they don't. Right here, we're going to give this cop a pat on the back. Now, and I think it's in this editorial here. I read a couple of stories on this, but I think it's in this one where he said that he was afraid he was going to lose his job. And sure enough, he lost his police powers. So let's jump into it. Thank you, CBS Local Chicago, for this story. Joliet Police Sergeant Javier Escueda blew the whistle on the death of Eric Lurie in police custody, and now he has been stripped of his police powers and placed on administrative leave. Meanwhile, Tuesday evening, there were growing calls to fire the 2 officers involved in Lurie's death, and sources said the Joliet city manager has quit. As CBS 2 investigator Dave Savini reported, Sergeant Escueda said he thought he could lose his badge over all this, and he did lose it. Protesters marched around the Joliet Police Department demanding justice for Lurie and praising Sergeant Escueda, I do too, who risked his job to expose what he calls wrongdoing by fellow cops. In the crowd was Lurie's cousin, Effie Lee. Effie Lee said, quote, he's supposed to tell. That's what police officers are supposed to do. He's supposed to lead by example, and he did. He said he cried for days seeing my cousin treated like that. Escueda said last week, seeing that video was so disturbing, I cried. Every day having to live with that was a hard thing, knowing this administration was probably going to do nothing about it. Sergeant Escueda, who blew the whistle on the existence of the Joliet police video of the alleged misconduct involved with Lurie's arrest, was stripped of his police powers on Monday. The 27-year veteran told the CBS 2 investigators in an exclusive interview with Savini last week that Lurie was the victim of police misconduct back in January. He said the video was kept under wraps ever since. The video obtained by CBS 2 shows Lurie's nose held shut while in handcuffs for 1 minute and 38 seconds, while a police baton is in his mouth in the back seat of a squad car. Lurie died in custody soon after. Escueda said, in my opinion, anybody would suffocate in that situation. There is audio missing, which has led to possible accusations of police evidence tampering. Sergeant Escueda, known by the nickname Butch by his fellow officers, had his badge, his gun, his police car all taken away from him. We asked Lurie last week about the chance he could face retaliation for sounding the alarm about the video. Dave Savini asked, "Are you concerned? Do you fear that they're going to come after you?" Escueda answers, "The person I fear is God. Other men I don't fear. They're going to come after me. Have at it. I did the right thing. I'm a good, honest cop." And so there's more to it. This thing goes down and down and down into the depths of news stories. I mean, it goes, it's quite a bit more. But if you read on, I'm just going to give you a synopsis here and you can read it. The link will be in the description box below. They also talk about how, Sergeant Escueda was put on administrative leave and stripped of police powers because he released the video and he released a video that was being investigated by an outside agency. So he basically released evidence of an ongoing investigation, is what they're saying. They're saying that he obtained the video illegally, unauthorized access to the video, which was being investigated by an outside agency of the Major Crimes Task Force. And he wasn't supposed to do that. Well, cops have done worse things and not lost their badge. I mean, cops have done terrible things and not lost their badge. They were just put on a paid leave and pending the outcome of the investigation. This guy obtains, maybe it was unauthorized access to a video being investigated. Maybe he shouldn't have did that. But he lost his badge, his gun, and his police car over that. Cops beat a guy in the ground while he's handcuffed. Cops beat their wife. Cops, sexually harass suspects. They don't lose their badge or their gun. They're just put on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation. This guy accesses a video of cops holding a guy's nose closed for almost 2 minutes while they shove a baton down the back of his throat, and he loses his gun, his badge, and his car, all his police powers. And by the way, they said it was because the guy had put a baggie of weed in his mouth, or not weed, drugs, a baggie of some type of drugs in his throat. Why would they put a baton down there? They were shoving it down his throat. They also say in here that the medical examiner claims that the man died from drug overdose and not by what the cops did. But if he had a bag of some substance lodged in his throat, they were supposed to call the ambulance. That's what they say in the story too. They should have called the ambulance right away. Instead, they held his nose closed for over 1.5 minutes and shoved the baton. Why would the baton? How is the baton going to get the bag out of the back of his throat? Were they shoving it down into there so he would swallow it? It's a good question. Escueda is a hero. I think he needs a pat on the back. I think some other police department should pick this guy up in a heartbeat. He's a good cop. He's a great cop. You don't need to be in Joliet. Get the hell out of Illinois. Go to some other state, Escueda, and become a good cop somewhere else. We need you on the street. We need cops like this who are going to step up and tell the truth and say, you know what? I saw it. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. Again, the link to this whole story is in the description box. You can go read it all for yourself. And just to give you a summation, you have a guy in a squad car. He has a baggie of some substance in the back of his throat. And instead of calling the ambulance, they close his nose, plug his nose for over 1.5 minutes and shove a baton down his throat. And then he dies. Medical examiner said, well, he died from a drug overdose. Yeah, they shoved a baggie of substance down his throat with a baton while holding his nose closed. Community Leo Watch, watching Leos. That's law enforcement officers from coast to coast every day, especially on hump day. Thank you for watching.